I'm not 100% sure why I've decided to film this, other than that I found myself just talking out loud and getting angrier and angrier and more frustrated, and felt like I just needed to say something, really. I needed to document what I was saying. Not because I think what I have to say is any more important than what anyone else has to say on the particular issue I'm going to be talking about, but because I just felt like I wanted to say it, really, and I wanted to have the discussion, even though no one's actually talking back at me and I'm just talking to myself, but I kind of just needed to sort of sound it all out, really. So over the last few days, a lot of allegations against Russell Brand have become public knowledge, thanks to a Dispatches documentary on Channel 4. Which in itself I find interesting, because Channel 4 are very much criticised within the documentary for their role or their ineffectiveness to deal with Russell Brand. But the reason I've actually come on here is because, not specifically to talk about what he has allegedly done, which I have no problem believing. I can absolutely believe that he has done the things that he has done and that these women are telling the truth, but it is still alleged. Anyway, and we have to say that. But the thing that's sort of moved me to speak, to write a blog yesterday and to write various social media posts yesterday, is the rhetoric that I keep seeing almost entirely by men of this, well, innocent till proven guilty. It's convenient, isn't it? Innocent until proven guilty. Like Jimmy Savile was never proven guilty. Pretty sure he was guilty of various horrendous, terrible crimes, but he was never proven guilty because there was no trial. Shame that. Innocent till proven guilty is a very convenient response in the face of something that you are uncomfortable with. Russell Brand, for one reason or another, has over the years been an extremely popular and beloved comedian and performer in this country and abroad, as you'll see in the documentary. Hollywood ate him up, and that's why he was able to get away with it for so long. He was almost doing it in plain sight, and we all just laughed along. And I will not separate myself from that. I have seen him on panel shows and found him very funny. I never particularly enjoyed his stand-up. Wasn't really my thing. But I also never really watched a huge amount of it. So I was never fully aware of some of the jokes he made. But the stand-up that I did see never really... It's not really my thing. He always made me a little bit uncomfortable. There was always something about him that made me a little bit uncomfortable, but it was hard to pinpoint exactly what. I also did feel like I actually probably never wanted to be in a room with him. I had that feeling that he was maybe someone I wouldn't want to be around. But on panel shows, when he was being sort of the sort of weird kind of hipster punk that he portrayed himself to be, I enjoyed him. I did. I'm not going to pretend I didn't. I did. I laughed on, Big Fat Quiz of the Year when he and Noel Fielding were sat next to each other and, both dressed in incredibly flamboyant outfits and making stupid jokes. Like, I laughed. And, to handle the truth of that in the face of these most recent allegations is tricky. And it's uncomfortable. And I think that's where the innocent till proven guilty comes from. I imagine that the men who are saying that on social media, who are perpetuating this idea that we should all just be quiet and we should stop talking, and we should stop having opinions because, well, he hasn't been proven guilty yet. Well, I imagine they really enjoyed his stand-up, and they listened to it and they watched it, and they maybe even actually bought tickets to go see him, and they like his movies, and, you know, they are struggling with the reality that they have supported both financially and through their actions condoning his behaviour, and now they're having to sort of reckon with that. Like, what does that say about me? I laughed at these horrendous jokes. What does that say? And my response to that is, I don't really care what it says about you. I think we've all laughed at things that were inappropriate or uncomfortable, or in 2023 we would not laugh at. Yeah, there are movies from my childhood that I watch now and I go, oh my god, this was a movie that children were allowed to watch? Like, oh my god, this is horrendous. And, you know, wouldn't be made in 2023. Society changes, our tastes change, our ideas change, our feelings change. And part of that change is reckoning ourselves with that and going, well, this is really, I don't like this. I'm not pleased that I used to laugh at this joke. I'm glad now that I don't. I'm glad now that I've been shown the truth. I was watching some old episodes of Friends last night when I was feeling really depressed, and Friends has always been something that has made me feel better. But even that program, in 2023, there are jokes that were made then in the 90s that you would not be making now, and I don't laugh at them when I watch those episodes. I get uncomfortable and I'm like, oh, I hate this episode because this episode really focuses on this whole genre of comedy that I don't like, whether it be the fat-phobic stuff or the homophobic stuff. But then there are other episodes where the humour is still largely fine, and so I enjoy those episodes. You know, that's part of it, right? And we make our decisions and we figure out what we're comfortable still absorbing. You know, I will never watch The Cosby Show again because I can't sit there and watch this man who is pretending to be this loving husband and father to these children, and he's funny, and there's these moments with the youngest daughter, Rudy Huxtable, and you're just, they're so lovely, these scenes, and I can't watch those scenes knowing now who he is and what he's done. And so for me, I will never watch The Cosby Show again. I can't do it. It hurts too much. It's too awful, the reality of it. And I think we all have to make these decisions, and these why a lot of these things are personal choices. But the only thing that men really need to do right now, particularly men, because they seem to find it the hardest to do this, but what they need to do is stop saying innocent until proven guilty. Stop dealing with their own discomfort by deflecting from the seriousness of these allegations and the seriousness of the emotions that are being dealt with, and instead just listen. Just sit quietly and listen. In the documentary, the women are so scared to have their say, to express their experiences, to go to the darkest parts of their history, that they have actors portraying them. Not only their physical selves, but their words as well. Their voices are taken over by actors because they are so scared of what going public and being known might do to them. Russell Brand, in his response, did not have an actor. He had himself. He had his face, his voice, because he's not scared. Because his entire career, it seems like he has been getting away with a lot of things that he should not have been getting away with. Allegedly. So, stop talking, stop telling me that it's innocent until proven guilty. I don't care about the legal system right now. Russell Brand hasn't been arrested. He's not on trial. At the moment, there's no sign that he's going to go to prison based on these accusations. At the moment, it looks like he will just go quietly into that sweet night until things go quiet in the media again, and then he can come back out and he can carry on with his weird social media guru stuff that he's apparently been up to recently. Not that I would know. The last thing I think I've ever consumed of Russell Brand in recent years was the last general election. And that's the other thing. For me, as a victim of sexual assault, the reality of looking at someone who in many ways shares similar political leanings to myself, and yet is also an abhorrent human being, allegedly. I think I'm just angry. I'm angry that still, after these past 5, 6, maybe even 8 years, certainly since the Trump era, we still haven't learned to just listen to these people. Just listen. That's all you have to do. It's not hard. In fact, it's the easiest thing in the world to keep your mouth shut and just listen. And if the media wants to give him a trial by media, go ahead. They've certainly put women on trial for centuries. For daring to have an opinion, for daring to say the truth, for daring to have an idea expressed in their own voice that didn't come from a man. Women have been put on trial by media a lot more than men. So if they want to put Russell Brand on trial right now, then go ahead. He can take it. He has to take it. And the rest of you that will keep telling us over and over again that he is innocent until proven guilty, we fucking know. We know. Our abusers are almost all, walking free. Seemingly innocent. But we know. We know their guilt. We feel their guilt. We experienced them being guilty. So stop telling us innocent until proven guilty. Because we live with the truth of that every day. Just be quiet. Just listen. You don't need to do anything else. Nothing else is asked of you or required of you right now. And if you're really lucky, and if you really listen, you might actually learn something. If nothing else, you won't hurt anyone by staying quiet right now and just listening. But I can promise you that repeating the words innocent until proven guilty will continue to hurt every woman who has ever been sexually assaulted or made to feel powerless at the hands of a man and never been able to do anything about it. You wound us every time you say it, so stop saying it. Stop it. That's all I've got to say. For now, anyway. I'm sure I'll go off on another rant to myself a little later. It's what I seem to be doing at the moment, every couple of hours. Okay, well, thanks for listening if you were able to last 15 minutes without saying something.